Okay, so yesterday one part was remaining from that block diagram of op-amp. So first of all, we will cover it fastly within few minutes, and then we'll switch to the op-amp as a feedback amplifier. Okay, so see that remaining part was the output stage of op-amp. Just remember the output stage should be capable to drive somewhat more loads, and for that purpose its current capacity should be high or it should be large. So there is one configuration by using BJT, and that is nothing but push-pull complementary amplifier. Okay, so push-pull means what? When one transistor in this shown circuit diagram, when one transistor will get pushed in the conduction, another transistor it gets pulled down to cut off or switch off or turn off. Okay, that's why it is known as a push pull. And complementary means when one transistor, you can observe it, this first transistor it is NPN type and the second transistor is PNP. So as this circuit consists of both type of transistors, it is titled as a complementary. And last word is amplifier, because whatever input we will going on to apply coming from the previous stage, that is nothing but level shifter, that output of level shifter gets applied as an input to this circuitry, that is nothing but push pull amplifier. And that V out, this is nothing but pin number 6, that is the output terminal of that op-amp. Okay, you will observe that two diodes are connected in series. So the series connection diode, it provides the biasing to both transistors, right? So see, whenever there will be a positive half cycle coming from the, we can say that level shifter stage, it will get applied combinedly to both the transistors, and I mean as an input to the both transistors. And during first positive half cycle, you will observe NPN transistor will be forward or it will start to conduct, while PNP, that is lower transistor, it will remain off because of positive input coming from level shifter previous stage, right? As the first transistor is NPN, we are applying positive half cycle to the P region, that is base region, and that's why it will conduct, it will become forward bias, while the same signal commonly as it gets applied to the base of second transistor, but the second transistor is PNP, that means base region is of N type, and we are considering the first positive half cycle. So this second transistor, it will remain off, right? And hence that output will be positive half cycle as it is with somewhat amplification. Okay. During negative half, you will observe the first transistor, it will become reverse bias as it is NPN, and we are applying negative half. But the second transistor, as it is a PNP, as we are applying or we are considering negative half cycle, the second transistor will get turned on, and hence we can obtain the output, somewhat amplification. So you will observe when one transistor is in on state, opposite or another transistor, it remains in off, right? And that's why it is known as a push-pull. Now the feature of this push-pull complementary amplifier circuit is its current providing capacity is also high, as well as it will be going to amplify the voltage signal also, right? So as its current capacity, current supplying capability is high, we can drive somewhat more loads, right? It also provides low output impedance. That is the feature of this push-pull again. So there are three features basically. First one is it can be used for voltage amplification, but at this stage it is not that much required the amplification of voltage. But the requirement is what? It should improve the current supplying capacity. And this push-pull configuration, it improves it. Similarly, third feature is it will be going to provide the low impedance, low output impedance, or we can say low resistance to the output side. And being a voltage amplifier, as we know, output impedance ideally it is 0. Practically, it should be as low as possible. So, by using this complementary push-pull amplifier, we can achieve the output impedance as very low, right? So this is the significance of this last stage. Already yesterday we discussed about that parameters as well as this one equivalent circuit. Now we'll see somewhat open loop configurations of op-amp. You might have seen it in your first year. So the first shown circuit diagram, this one, this is the differential amplifier. Differential amplifier means what? It will going on to amplify the difference between two input signals. You will observe there are two inputs, Vin1 and Vin2. So this Vd, that is differential voltage across the input pins of that op-amp, that will be Vd equals to Vin1 minus Vin2, the difference between these two. Okay, and how much output this first amplifier, that is differential configured op-amp, will be going to provide us? That output will be gain times of that differential voltage, input differential voltage, that is Vd. So I written here that Vo equals to Ad into Vd, right? And what is that Ad? Ad is nothing but differential gain of op-amp, and it is very, very high. While studying the few parameters, we consider this differential gain, and that is in CMRR, right now. So that differential gain is very high, and it can be determined like Ad equals to Vo by Vin. Now what is Vin? There are two input signals, so Vin, it will be a difference between that two. That is nothing but we can say differential voltage. Okay. So see here I written Ad equals to Vo, that is output voltage divided by input. What is input? Input is nothing but Vd. And what is Vd? Vd is nothing but difference between V1 and V2. And that's why we are calling it as a differential amplifier. Then next one, that is inverting configuration. Again, we are studying these configurations in open loop condition. There is no feedback between input and the output side. If there is a feedback, then it becomes a closed loop configuration, right? That also we'll go on to discuss later on whenever we'll study that negative feedback amplifiers, right? So this inverting configuration means what? The input is applied to the inverting terminal, while non-inverting terminal is grounded, right? So that Vd is nothing but, here we can say V1 minus V2, that is nothing but 0 minus this V2, and hence you will get output as a negative. That's why we are calling it as a inverting. So how much will be the output voltage? That will be again equals to differential gain of this op-amp, that is Ad, into differential voltage, that is Vd. Okay, Ad into Vd. Now what is Vd? Vd is nothing but difference between these two, right? That is V1 minus V2. As V1 is grounded, only single signal it is applied to the inverting terminal, so that Vd is equals to Vin, as V1 is equals to 0, right now. That means the Vin, it will appear as a V2, correct? And that's why I written that Vo equals to minus Ad into Vin, or you can write here Vd also, that Vd is equals to Vin, as V1 is 0. Third one is non-inverting configuration. So see, whenever you will going to compare these two configurations, that is inverting and non-inverting, you will easily you can easily understood the difference between these two, that is inverting configuration and non-inverting configuration. Non-inverting means that input signal is applied to the non-inverting terminal, while inverting terminal is grounded. So you will observe this V2 is nothing but 0, that is ground, and now the difference will be V1 minus V2, that is nothing but Vd, right? So how much will be the output voltage? It will be plus Ad into Vin, or you can write again plus Ad into Vd. Vd is nothing but V1 minus V2, as V2 is grounded, so we can say it will be only V1, and that V1 is nothing but the applied input signal, that is Vin. Same voltage will appear as the input to that op-amp. So these are the various open loop configurations, right? Whenever we will be going to study the applications in the next unit, over there you have to remember all these things, right? So now the last topic of this unit, and that is nothing but op-amp with negative feedback. Okay, we want to check the effect of negative feedback on the various parameters of this feedback amplifiers by using op-amp, right? So first one, it is a voltage series. You are already familiar with this, only I will go on to highlight, right? So this first one, it is voltage series feedback amplifier because that sampling it is done in parallel and mixing it is done in series with the input signal. See, and that's why it is known as a voltage series feedback amplifier. Next, you will observe that is in voltage shunt. Again, sampling is for voltage, and that's why that network feedback network it is connected in parallel to the output of that op-amp amplifier. Okay, and the mixing it is done in parallel with the input signal, right? That is nothing but I in. What is the source of I in? That V in, right? So as that feedback network is connected in parallel, or we can say the mixing is in shunt, the configuration is voltage shunt feedback amplifier. Next one is current series. As the sampling is for current and mixing is in series, you will observe the output, that feedback network, it is connected in series to the output. And series connection to the output, it indicates there is a current type of sampling. And as the input side, that is mixing, it is done in series with the input. And that's why this is known as current series feedback amplifier using op-amp. And last one is current shunt. That means sampling is done in series. That's why we are taking the sample as a current, and mixing, again, as the title is shunt, means mixing should be in parallel. And the same, I tried to, yes? Any doubt? Hello? Any doubt? Am I audible properly? Just let me know. Okay, okay. Okay, so the last one, that is current shunt, means the sampling is done in series to the output of that op-amp amplifier. That's why we are taking the sample as a current, and mixing, as it is mentioned, in shunt means it should be in parallel. And that's why this configuration is known as current shunt feedback amplifier. Now in your syllabus, only these two are mentioned, that is voltage series and voltage shunt feedback amplifiers using op-amp. Okay. Now, as it is feedback amplifier, that means there should be a feedback network between output and one of the input to that op-amp. Now, why I said one of the input, because there are actual two input terminals. Out of that two, which one we are using, accordingly, it is that type of feedback amplifier is mentioned. So see here, I mentioned here voltage series feedback, but which configuration? Non-inverting configuration, right? Because that input signal, it is applied to the non-inverting terminal, that is positive terminal. Okay, and another terminal, that is inverting terminal, instead of directly grounding it, that inverting terminal, it is connected to the feedback path. Okay, now you will observe there are two resistors R1 and RF, which forms a feedback network. Resistor R1 and RF, it forms a feedback network, and that feedback network is connected to the output. And the output of that feedback network, it is connected as a one of the input or second input to that op-amp, right? That is nothing but V2. So see here, you can easily find out this V2 equals to how much it will be. It is already written over here, but it's very simple. Just apply a voltage divider rule, right? So what is the source of this voltage divider? That is nothing but output of op-amp, right? Now that is a VO. So VO, it is a voltage source for this voltage divider, right? So over here you will observe how much will be the node voltage of that voltage divider, which we are considering it as a V2. So it's very simple, that V2 equals to the source into resistor, across which we are taking that signal with respect to ground. Okay, that is nothing but R1, right? So this V2 equals to VO into R1 divided by R1 plus RF. Simple voltage divider rule. By voltage divider rule, you can easily determine the value of that V2, that is nothing but node voltage. So the drop across that R1, that is nothing but the feedback signal, which we are considering it as a V2. Okay. So here I written that ACL, that is nothing but gain with closed loop. CL stands for closed loop, remember. So ACL, that is nothing but gain of the circuitry in closed loop. As there is a feedback network between input and output, we have to call it as a closed loop. So gain of this amplifier in closed loop equals to VO by V in, output divided by input, right? Therefore, VO equals to, just rearrange that terms, you will observe that VO equals to A into V1 minus V2, right? Why I written V1 minus V2? Because there are two signals. One is the actual input signal and another signal is feedback signal. That is nothing but V2, which is obtained across resistor R1. And that's why that V in is nothing but, it is nothing but the differential voltage between these two terminals. And how much is the differential voltage? That is V1 minus that feedback signal, that is V2. So you can write that VO equals to ACL into V in, that V in is nothing but V1 minus V2, right? Now, already I highlighted that how much will be the feedback signal applied to the inverting terminal. That will depend on the resistor R1, or combinedly by this voltage divider R1 and RF. So the drop across R1, here I mentioned it as a VF, that is nothing but V2, correct? So I written here, see, VO equals to A, that is closed loop gain by default, V1 minus V2, and that is equals to A, V in. What is V1? V1 is nothing but V in. Okay, looking towards this circuit diagram, you can easily understood this one. V1 is nothing but V in, and what is V2? V2 is nothing but drop across this R1, which we are calling it as a VF. Okay, that is a feedback voltage. And that's why I written that equation as VO equals to A, that is closed loop gain, into input. Input is the difference between V in and VF, that is V in minus VF, right? Now, how much is VF? Just recall from your previous unit, second unit, whenever you studied the feedback amplifiers, right? That is nothing but, in that, how much is the feedback factor? That is beta. Here I written that VF is nothing but beta times of VO. Is it correct? See, if your notebook and pen, you simply try to write down beta equals to the output of that circuitry, right? That is nothing but input of feedback network and the feedback signal, that is XF. If you correlate it with that previous second unit and the discussion done over there, right? So beta equals to, here we can say its output. Output is nothing but VF divided by its input. Input is nothing but output of op-amp, right now. And that's why you can write that VF equals to, in terms of that feedback factor, that is beta times of VO, correct? Again, just try to rewrite. That means take this negative term towards the LHS side. It will become plus. So actually it will be VO plus beta times of VO. Take VO common. You will have the left side equation as VO in bracket 1 plus A into beta equals to A times of V in. Okay. And if that ratio is taken, that is VO by V in, that will be equals to A divided by 1 plus beta A. Correct? Same thing, whatever I told, that is nothing but that V1 equals to V in, V2 equals to the feedback signal. That depends on that R1 and RF as written over here. Now, one more point you have to remember, that is the virtual ground concept. Virtual ground concept means what? The terminal, positive terminal, that is non-inverting terminal, potential at non-inverting terminal is equals to potential at inverting. This is known as a virtual ground concept. Okay. So as V1 equals to V2, we can write the same equation as V in equals to R1 divided by R1 plus RF into VO, right now. And just by rearranging again, you will have VO equals to in bracket 1 plus R1 by RF into V in. This much will be the output voltage for this voltage series feedback amplifier with non-inverting configuration. Now again for the same voltage series feedback input impedance. Okay, the same circuitry I shown over here, but I consider the internal equivalent of that op amp. Right. So you will observe the circuitry is same. That is R1 is as it is, RF is there. So this voltage divider it is powered by VO. There is a feedback signal that is VF, which is equals to V2 and all that. Right. So we're going on to observe what is the effect on this RI. Okay. So what is that RIF? That is input impedance of any amplifier is nothing but the impedance looking from its input side. Right now. So that RIF equals to V in by I in. As it is related to input, we have to consider voltage and current at the input side only. Okay. And that's why that RIF I written it as V in by I in. As V in equals to VD plus VF. Right? The difference between these two. Why I written here plus sign? Because that feedback signal it will be a negative. Right now. So VD minus, actually it is V1 minus V2. That is the VD, right? So V1 as V1 equals to V in and V2 equals to VF. So you can rewrite this one as V in equals to VD plus VF. Just write at your end, you will have the same equation. Now what is VF? That is nothing but feedback signal, feedback voltage, and that is beta times of VO. What is VO? VO is nothing but the differential gain times of input. Okay. So actually it is VD plus beta into A into VD. Okay. By taking that VD as a common, you will have that V in equals to VD in bracket 1 plus A beta. Right? Now what is VD? Differential voltage in terms of resistance and current. V equals to IR. Right now. This VD, as it is related to input side, you have to consider input current and input resistance. That's why that VD I replace it by I in into RI. Okay, that will going on to decide the level of this VD. Correct? And therefore V in, just rearrange now, V in by I in, you will observe equals to I will remain as it is. This I in I taken it towards the LHS so that it will be at denominator. So V in by I in equals to RI in bracket 1 plus A beta, and that is nothing but RIF. Okay, so same as that of the feedback amplifiers which you studied in the second unit, you will observe the same thing over here. So as it is, voltage series feedback amplifier, just let me know RIF is greater than RI or less than RI or equals to RI. Anyone? Fast. For voltage series feedback amplifier using MOSFET, just compare RIF and RI and give me the answer. Don't write your answer in chat box. Unmute yourself and give the answer. You already studied it. That's why I am asking. For voltage series feedback amplifier, you have to compare RIF and RI. No one? RIF is greater than RI, remember. As it is series type of mixing. And for shunt type of mixing, RIF is less than RI. Okay. So here you will observe that RIF is equals to RI in bracket 1 plus beta A. And beta is nothing but feedback factor. And A is nothing but the gain. Okay. So this is about input impedance. Now the output impedance. Again, just correlate this topic with the feedback amplifiers using MOSFET. Whenever we have to determine the output impedance, we define over there also. It is the impedance looking from output side of that amplifier by considering input signal source as 0. So you will observe while determining this output resistance with negative feedback or with feedback simply that V1 it is grounded. That means there is no V in. Correct. And accordingly, you will observe that ROF equals to V in divided by I in. Then IO, output current, is equals to IA plus IB. See, three currents are taken over here. Which are those? One is the feedback current, another one is the current passing from the output terminal inside to that op amp. So this IO, it will get divided as IA and IB, right? So by applying KCL at this node, you can easily write that IO equals to IA plus IB, as both currents are outgoing from that node which we consider, and only one current is incoming, that is IO. Okay. Now next, as R1 is parallel to R2, right? Just a minute. Okay. Here the total resistance is calculated as R1 parallel to R2. What is that R2? I will check it. Plus RF, which is very large as compared to output impedance. So applying KVL to the output, you can easily note down it that VO equals to IA into RO. That is the output impedance of that op amp, right now. And how much is the current flowing through it? Current is IA. That current is considered as IA. Okay. So VO equals to IA into RO plus that voltage source itself. It is denoted as A into VD. Open loop gain into differential voltage. Right. So this much will be the output voltage. Now, which is equals to RO into IO. That IA, we can replace it by IO, output current, if that IB is considered as 0. So RO into IO plus remaining term as it is, that is open loop gain into differential voltage. And from here, you can easily determine how much is VD. Okay, you are already familiar. That is the difference between two inputs, that is V1 and V2. Right? And that is equals to 0 because that input signal source, it is considered as ground. That is a need or necessity when determining the output impedance. Okay. So 0 minus beta times of VO. That is nothing but your second term. Okay. Therefore, IO, you can write it as output voltage. How much is the output voltage? It is VO minus A into VD divided by RO. That is nothing but IO, which is equals to VO minus that VD is replaced now by beta times of VO. And hence ROF at the end, you will observe ROF equals to VO by IO equals to RO by 1 plus beta A. And you will observe the same derivation in that previously which you studied, that is MOSFET based feedback amplifier. So here you can say that ROF, it is less than RO. As there is a, see, for voltage series means the sample taken is voltage. So just correlate it to voltage amplifier. For voltage amplifier, output impedance is 0 ideally. And practically it should be as low as possible. By using negative feedback, as we know, the parameters get improved. Therefore, ROF, it is less than without feedback, that is RO. Right? Now, the same feedback amplifier and its bandwidth. That means bandwidth with feedback. So see, a dotted line is there, this one. This is open loop response of that amplifier, frequency response. And while the second line, that is red color, this is closed loop. That means with using negative feedback. And as we know, by using negative feedback, the gain gets decreased. That is only a single disadvantage of negative feedback. Is it? So you will, over here also you will observe in open loop configuration, the gain is greater than 10 raised to 5. Okay. But by using negative feedback, that gain, it becomes below 100. Right? While open loop gain is very high. But what is the disadvantage of open loop? You will observe for very small frequency range, it is almost, we can say 6 to 7 hertz only. That means from 0 to 6 to 7 hertz only, we can obtain the maximum gain almost greater than 10 raised to 5. And later on, immediately, that means almost at 7 hertz and above, there is decreasing gain. Gain gets dropped by minus 20 dB per decibel. Okay. While in case of closed loop, what happens? You will observe that gain remains constant, somewhat greater than 10 raised to 4 times frequency. Okay, that is nothing but almost we can say 10 kilohertz. Over here in open loop, it is just that frequency is just at 7 hertz. Right now. So in open loop, now we'll see its importance as well as drawback. In open loop configuration, the achieved maximum gain is possible only for very low frequency range, that is from 0 to 7 hertz as shown over here. While by using negative feedback or closed loop, gain gets decreased, that is the disadvantage, but its response gets extended. Maximum gain response, it gets extended up to 10 kilohertz or greater than somewhat 10 kilohertz. And then later on that gain starts to decrease. But the decreasing gain, it occurs at very high frequency. While in open loop configuration, decreasing gain starts at low frequency only, that is just 6 to 7 hertz. That means there will be a limitation if we use that op-amp in open loop configuration. Limitation on what? The frequency of that applied input signal. If it is large, then that gain gets dropped immediately. We can't achieve that maximum gain. Is it? So what will be the effect on bandwidth? Looking towards this diagram as well as already I taught it, bandwidth gets increased. You will observe it. Bandwidth is nothing but FH minus FL. So FL is almost 0 hertz in this one, and FH is almost 10 kilohertz. So 10k minus 0, so the bandwidth will remain almost 10 kilohertz. But in open loop configuration, if we consider that decreasing gain starts over here 3 dB below, suppose this one is a 3 dB and the respective frequency, that is FH, is only 10 hertz. So 10 hertz minus 0, it will be 10 hertz. While over here it is almost 10 kilohertz. Correct now? So by using a feedback, we can improve the bandwidth of that amplifier. That is the conclusion. Okay. Now the second one mentioned in your syllabus, that is voltage shunt feedback amplifier. That means the sampling it should be done in it should be done for voltage, and mixing it should be in parallel to the input. So see, you will observe that RF, it is connected parallelly to Vin. Okay. So whatever feedback signal will be there, these two signals will going on to get mixed. That is input current and the feedback current as they are in shunt. Right. Again, that derivation part is written over here. Before going to that, just check it. Both diagrams are same. Only I flip that op-amp. Means positive terminal is now in the second diagram, it is at the ground side. But in original that was at the upper side. So I just flip vertically that op-amp. And now again, one more thing you will observe, ideally that IA equals to 0, it is mentioned. Can anyone give the reason why I written it like this, IA equals to 0? For any current, we can write it as IB. Can anyone? See, as that input signal as well as feedback signal is applied to the inverting terminal, the respective current, that is IB, is shown as 0. Because input impedance of op-amp is infinite, ideally. And it comes in between inverting and non-inverting terminals, or across these two terminals. As it is considered as infinite, ideally, the current flowing through that terminal, we can say it will be 0. As it just looks like a open circuited terminal. Okay. Now, as IB is equals to 0, you can easily write over here I1, that is current flowing from input signal that is I1 will be equals to IF, that is the current flowing through feedback resistor. See, why I title this one as RF? Because it is a feedback resistor which is connected in between output and input terminal. Right? The value of this RF, it will be going to decide how much will be the value of IF, that is current passing through it. Okay. Therefore, I written IN equals to almost equals to IF as IB is considered as 0. Again, by applying KCL at this node, you will observe there are two outgoing currents. One is through the feedback resistor and another one is through the input terminal. But that input terminal current, as it is 0 due to infinite input impedance of op-amp, we can write I1 equals to IF. Right? Now, what is that IN? IN is nothing but Vin minus V2 divided by R1. Right? See that IN is nothing but what? It is an input current coming from that input voltage source, that is Vin. Right? So you have to take the potential difference across that resistor while calculating the value of current flowing through that resistor. That resistor, it is titled as R1. Okay. And now how much is the potential difference? Potential difference is Vin minus the potential at inverting terminal, voltage at inverting terminal. Right. But as in the previous, I mentioned the virtual ground concept, you will observe the non-inverting terminal is now at 0 potential. So by that virtual ground concept, as voltage at non-inverting is 0, the same voltage is to be get considered as inverting. Right. And that's why I taken it as Vin minus V2. That V2 is nothing but voltage at inverting. Okay. So the potential difference across R1 is how much? That is Vin minus potential available at the inverting terminal of that op-amp. And by virtual ground concept, as non-inverting is grounded, the same potential is to be get considered as the inverting. If that inverting potential is considered as V2, potential at non-inverting is V1. So we can write V1 equals to V2, as that V1 is grounded, that means non-inverting terminal is grounded. So by that virtual ground concept, we have to say V1 equals to V2 equals to 0. Okay. And hence, this previous equation, that is Vin minus V2 divided by R1, will become Vin by R1 only, as V2 is equals to 0 by virtual ground concept. Now IF, same concept. Again, how much is the potential difference? Potential difference is there is a node voltage V2 and output voltage across this feedback resistor. IF, it is nothing but a current flowing through feedback resistor. So that difference is V2 minus VO. Potential difference is V2 minus VO divided by through which resistor that current is flowing, which we desire to calculate, that is RF. And that's why divided by RF. Okay. So that equation again, it will become only minus VO by RF, as V2 is equals to 0. And therefore VO equals to, just rearrange the terms, take this VO towards the LHS so that it will become plus, and this term towards the RHS side so that it will become minus. So VO equals to simply minus RF by R1 into Vin. Okay. You will observe the value of that output voltage, it is dependent on values of feedback resistor and input resistor. Right? So for inverting amplifier, output voltage is, you have to remember, minus RF by R1 into Vin. Now, its analysis. As I1 equals to IF plus IB, the closed loop, almost same. Same again is written over here. So I will directly switch how much will be the feedback gain, or gain with feedback. That is AF equals to VO by Vin. Right? Just go through these equations. You will get clear idea, and at the end you can obtain that AF equals to minus RF by R, and that is equals to minus 1 by beta. Beta is nothing but the feedback factor. How much will be the feedback over here? You can easily understood. That will be dependent on what? Output voltage and this feedback resistor, right? So beta, as it is dependent on RF and that input resistor, that is R1, we can call. So as beta is equals to R1 by RF, and we got that AF equals to minus RF by R1, so it will be minus 1 by beta. See here, I written since that beta equals to R1 by RF, right? Then the effect on input impedance in voltage shunt. I just written that circuit diagram like this. There are two inputs to the inverting terminal. One is feedback signal and another one is Vin. So looking from input side, that is RIF equals to, you will observe there is one resistor R1 plus, see, value of this resistor RF, as previously it is mentioned in terms of gain, you can easily calculate. Here we got that AF equals to minus RF by R1, right now. Therefore, that RF feedback resistor is nothing but RF divided by 1 plus A. Okay, this one. Since R1 and A are very large, input resistance, sorry, Ri and gain. Generally, ideally it is infinite, practically it is very large. Therefore, you can simply write RF by 1 plus A parallel with Ri, and that will be equals to 0 ohms. Right? As it is shunt type of mixing, that means it is as good as a current amplifier, if you can recall again. Okay. And for current amplifier, input impedance is infinite. Input impedance is 0. And hence we got that RIF for this op-amp based voltage shunt as almost equals to 0 ohms. Then the output impedance. Again, same thing I done. I made that input signal as a 0, and the analysis is done so that at the end you will observe that ROF equals to RO by 1 plus A into beta. That means as the sampling is done for voltage, we are thinking now output side. As sampling is done for voltage correlated to voltage amplifier, for voltage amplifier output impedance ideally it is 0 and practically very small. By using negative feedback, as we know, the impedances, input output impedances both get improved. Therefore, ROF, that is output impedance with negative feedback, it should be less than output impedance without feedback, that is RO. Okay, so that ROF equals to RO by 1 plus beta A indicates the same thing. Output impedance gets improved. In this case, it gets decreased, and it should be. So based on this unit, again, one more practical we have to perform, and that is to measure the following op-amp parameters and compare with specifications given in the datasheet. So we can use two separate op-amps, one is 741 we take, and another one we can use either LF351 or 356, and we're going on to compare that two op-amps. Out of these two, for example, 741, it is a general purpose op-amp, and LF351 or 356, it is almost MOSFET based, and it offers few parameters better than that of 741, and accordingly we will be able to check both the op-amps while determining all these four parameters, that is input offset voltage, input bias and offset currents, CMRR and slew.